Hey, welcome back to my channel at the Starlings, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Peggy. I make videos about homeschooling, homemaking, and family discipleship. Today, I wanted to take you through our homeschool year in review. I have a couple of videos that I made about exactly what curricula we were using this year, so I'll link those if you want to get the details on everything that I used. But I wanted to kind of review how our homeschool year went, the hits, the misses, and then I want to bring you 3 big lessons that I learned this year as a second year homeschooling mom. So I'm looking forward to starting our 3rd year soon, and I'm going to remember these lessons going into that. So first of all, we had a really great year. I have a 1st grader, that's my oldest child. Then I have an older preschooler who has really been excelling really quickly in her schooling. I have a younger preschooler. So those are my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old. And then I have 3 children that are under 2. So I'm schooling 3, and the other 3 I am caring for day to day, staying really busy with that. So it's really busy in our home and there's a lot going on, but we're still enjoying our homeschool. So overall, we had a really great year this year. We did a lot of enjoyable activities. We started a co-op. We just had a lot of fun this year, and we enjoyed a lot of our curricula, but then there's some that we didn't enjoy so much and some that just completely fell off the map for this year. So first I want to start with our history, Bible, and geography curriculum, which is from Simply Charlotte Mason. So this year we did Genesis through Deuteronomy, ancient Egypt, and other ancient cultures as well. And then our geography this year was about Africa. And this is from Simply Charlotte Mason as well. So we really enjoyed all of this. It was a lot of fun. We read the entire book of Genesis, and then the rest of this curriculum has you just read excerpts or certain passages from Exodus through Deuteronomy. So with those books, you don't read the entire book. So that's something good to note there. We also used these commentaries. They're called the Herein is Love commentaries by Nancy Gans on Exodus and Numbers. And those were really good. And then we did this Children's Story Bible, the Child's Story Bible. And this is from Catherine Voss. If you are looking for a really good children's story Bible, this one is definitely one I would recommend. We are Reformed Christians and very picky and particular about different commentaries, different Bible studies, and children's Bibles that we choose. We just want to make sure that God's Word is being represented properly. We want to make sure that what's being said about Christ and about any member of the Trinity is accurate and biblical. And this story Bible does an excellent job. So that is a really good one to have. This also helps you to talk about the different stories with your children in an age-appropriate way for them. So it was really helpful. So that is the Bible part of this. The history part, we went over not only Egypt, but other ancient cultures like ancient China. We went through ancient Sumer, a whole bunch of different cultures and civilizations during this time. So one of the main additional readings that goes with this curriculum is this Ancient Egypt and Her Neighbors. This was really good. It's fairly short chapters about the different civilizations, so that was really great. Some of these you could probably read ahead and then just kind of summarize for children, especially for that lower elementary age. But we still enjoyed learning about all the different ancient civilizations. And it's the way that it's written and the way it's put is just really helpful for the kids to see what life was like, not just dry facts, but it's a living book. So it's talking about what life was like in these ancient cultures. And speaking of that, a really fun book that was part of the curriculum that we read together as a read aloud was Boy of the Pyramids. And you can get this from simplycharlottemason.com. This book was another living book. It's about what life is like in ancient Egypt for this boy, and it was really wonderful. It's a mystery little novel, so it was fun guessing what was going to happen next and guessing, what the outcome would be of the mystery. So that was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed this book and got a really good look at what life in ancient Egypt was like. So this was a really great living book. So even if you don't use a Charlotte Mason method, if you are doing ancient history with your kids, this would be a really fun read aloud to do together. And I mean, this would be a great read aloud even through middle school, I think. So that was our history, geography, or history and Bible. Then with the geography, the visits to Africa, this was really fun. The best part of this curriculum were the two main books that we use besides the curriculum book. So these two books, Hungry Planet and Material World, were so much fun. We got to look at different countries in Africa. These books have families from all different regions of the world, but we looked at all of the families that are in Africa. In the Hungry Planet one, you get to see what their groceries for a week looks like, what kind of foods they eat. And then in Material World, you get to see what their homes are like, what their community is like, and what their life generally is like. So diving into these books and getting to, be transported to these countries and really learn what life is like and comparing that to our life and see the differences and, see what other parts of the world is like was really fun for me and for the kids. It was really educational for me as the parent as well. So this was the best part of this curriculum, I'd say. So the other main part of this curriculum is the map work. So you have these maps of Africa, and they fill in the new countries that they're learning, and then you give them a blank map and have them fill in the countries that they can remember. And then each week or so, sometimes it skips a couple weeks, then it adds on a couple new countries at a time. So with some of those maps, we skipped over that and just added more countries at a time later. And so my first grader did the maps, but I didn't expect her to remember every single country. She remembered Egypt, she remembered Libya and Morocco. There was a couple that she could remember where they were at. So I was really excited and impressed by that. Because really this geography is just exposure to other parts of the world and kind of knowing generally where some things are. For first grade, I'm not expecting her to really memorize everything. So I'm really happy with the progress that she made with this. So there are also some times when you would draw your own map of one particular country and fill in different physical characteristics and the capitals and different cities and things like that. So we did a little bit of that, but we skipped some of those too. We also, for this, used YouTube to find some different videos with information about the countries, and that was really fun for us to explore together, really get to see what the countries are like through people's travel videos and things like that. So that was a lot of fun. So next was reading and handwriting. For handwriting, I had my first grader and my older preschooler do Delightful Handwriting from Simply Charlotte Mason. So this is a really good beginning handwriting curriculum. So they both completed that. It starts out with just lines, it moves on to letters, and then towards the end you are copying sentences and poems and things like that. So this was really good for both of them. It was more instructional for my preschooler and more practice for my first grader. Then I had my first grader do this child's copybook reader. And with this, she was copying some different poems and Bible verses. I'll show you what it looks like. She was copying this poem. So when she finished copying something, then I would have her read it to me. So this is both for handwriting practice and a little reader. So for our reading curriculum, for my first grader, I was doing Delightful Reading Level 3, but that was one of our misses this year. It just was really redundant. It was difficult to get through. It was not the same as the Level 2. The Level 2 Delightful Reading is so much fun. There's lots of games. I've done a couple videos on that, which I can link for you. It is absolutely a wonderful reading program, but the Level 3 just didn't work out for us. I'm holding on to it in case it might work out for other kids in the future, but this just really was not the reading curriculum for her. So we got these pathway readers, and we have several of these. She's gone through a few this year, and these are great little readers to practice with reading. She really got to practice fluency and pronouncing words. She got to practice reading comprehension. So that's what we focused on this year. Is she read these readers. She read one chapter to me every single day, and that just really helped her practice reading more. So she did really well with that. All of the stories are about the same group of kids, and it was a lot of fun to read. She enjoyed reading it. So that's what we did for my first grader for reading this year. Next year, we're gonna do more of a grammar curriculum, and I will give you the information about that. I'm really excited about it in a future video when I go over what curricula we're gonna be using next year. So for my older preschooler, she already knew all of her letters and letter sounds. So we decided to start Delightful Reading Level 2 with her. This is the one I was talking about that has all the games, and it's so much fun. I highly recommend this. This is what I've used for both of my girls to teach them how to read, and I've been really, really happy with that. It's a huge hit in our homeschool. It's a big winner. My older preschooler has almost finished that curriculum. So when she finishes it, she'll move on to the pathway readers, but she has done really, really well with it. So now both children are reading and doing well with that this year. So that's a huge hit for us. Next, I want to tell you about science. So we chose Exploring Nature with Children for this year. It's a really wonderful, really fun curriculum. It's based on the seasons. There's monthly themes, there's weekly themes. It's really, really great, but we didn't always get to it. So it was a little bit of a miss for us this year. We got in a few certain, lessons in science using that curriculum, Exploring Nature with Children, but we just didn't always get to it. So for that reason, it was just kind of a miss for us. It kind of just fell off the map a little bit, but we started a co-op this year, and it's a nature-based co-op. So we really got to do a lot of being out in nature, doing nature walks and hikes and looking up some things. And my girls even found some different things in our yard that we looked up and learned about. So we did a lot more of experiencing science this year and experiencing nature versus having particular lessons. And to me, that's a total win. So even though we didn't get to have a lot of science lessons, we still did a lot of science and experienced a lot. So that was wonderful. Really happy with that. The kids enjoyed it. So that is a win for us. Next, I want to tell you about math. So we started out with the Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic from Simply Charlotte Mason, but we ended up switching, and I made an entire video about why, went through everything. So I will link to that in case you want to see the ins and outs of that. But it just wasn't for us, it was a miss. And so we switched to Matthew C. And this was a really, really good switch. We're really enjoying this curriculum, and I would highly, highly recommend it. If you're looking for a math curriculum and you're just not really sure what you want to do, this is really giving my daughters a good foundation. So I would definitely recommend it. It's not very Charlotte Mason, it's more classical, but I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with, being a little more eclectic with our homeschooling style, but this math has been great. So my older preschooler did the primer, which is basically like a kindergarten math, kind of an introduction to math, and it was really, really good for her. There were some challenging parts to it for her, so I think this was just the right level for a preschool or kindergartner. And then my first grader did Alpha, which is focusing on single digit addition and subtraction. Now, this is a mastery program, so the main theme that they're doing, like in this, was single digit addition and subtraction. They're learning to master those skills. So there were other things in the curriculum, like different geometry type topics, things like that, other topics, but the thing that they're mastering is the single digit addition and subtraction. And she has done really well with this. She's almost finished with it. We're gonna get that finished up since we're here at the end of the school year, and then we'll be starting the next level next year. So we'll continue with Math UC for the foreseeable future. Last, I want to go over enrichment. So our enrichment studies, I had many, many things picked out for art, music, Spanish, poetry, habits, literature, just a wide feast of different subjects that we were going to do together. Well, many of those subjects fell off the map. We've had a busy year this year. We have a baby that we're fostering, and there's been medical appointments, there's been visit appointments for him, there's been prenatal appointments when I became pregnant, and then we needed a break, during the more difficult times of pregnancy, and during, after the birth, during the postpartum period, we've just needed a lot of breaks. There's been a lot going on. So some of our enrichment subjects just fell to the wayside, and I'm totally fine with that. But I would consider those misses because we planned to do it, we were excited about it, and we just didn't get to it. So the things we got to were literature. We did E.B. White books. So we read Charlotte's Web, and we read The Trumpet of the Swan, and these were just read alouds. And we're currently reading Stuart Little. So that's our third E.B. White book, and we'll finish that during the summer. So we got that, and then we did our habits training, which is Laying Down the Rails, which is from Simply Charlotte Mason. This is really great. It gives you some ideas of passages of scripture to read, different stories to tell, lots of different things that have to do with the habit that you're working on. And it's been really great for my girls. It's been a good reminder for them on these different topics. So the ones we did this year were manners, attention, obedience, health, and reverent attitude. So we'll pick a few more of these to do next year, but this was really great. We didn't get to it every single week, but the majority of the time we did pretty well with our habits. So the enrichment subjects that got neglected were Spanish, music, art, poetry, and handicrafts. So we did a lot of art. My children really love art. So we did do a lot of that and some crafts, like seasonal crafts, but we didn't have a lot of particular instruction and lessons in art and music and all of that. We picked Mozart from Squilt, and we did some of that, but it just kind of fell to the side. I would turn on Mozart sometimes when they're doing their math or different things, but there just weren't a whole lot of lessons that we did for that. So that is everything that we did this year as far as our schooling goes. So I have 3 big lessons that I learned this year as a homeschooling mom that I wanted to share with you. So the first one was, there is no perfect schedule. Things are always going to change. So I was trying to have this perfect schedule where we got all of our school done in the morning, and then by lunchtime we were, ready to play and do whatever we wanted. But I learned that with 3 little babies and other things going on, other appointments and things like that, it just was not going to happen that we were going to get everything done every day before lunchtime. And sometimes the kids would just need a little break to go and play or do something else. So just keeping it a morning schedule, it wasn't working out. Then I was trying a block schedule, have a few things in the morning and then a break, and then some things in the afternoon and then a break. And that was going well, but again, just sometimes it didn't work out. There just is no perfect schedule. Nap times change for the babies as they grow. Just all kinds of different circumstances. So I've learned to just roll with it and just focus on the learning part and not so much the get it done part, which is my second lesson. So I'm focusing more this coming school year on the joy of learning, enjoying learning together with my children in our homeschool versus, okay, let's get it done. We need to get this done because there's other stuff to do. I really found myself wanting to get to my homemaking projects, wanting to get to making freezer meals, wanting to get to decluttering and wanting to do some reading and some other things. And so I focused more on let's just get school done, let's get it done, versus really enjoying the experience of homeschooling and enjoying learning together with my children. So that's a huge lesson that I'm going to bring into the next school year, and hopefully we can focus more on the joy of learning instead of just get it done. My third big lesson that I learned was that in this season of life, when I have 6 children that are all 7 years old and under, that doing that wide feast, it's just not going to be as wide as I would like it to be. So the breadth of that wide feast needs to be a little smaller. I need to pick less subjects and focus on doing the subjects that I'm going to pick well. So with the Charlotte Mason method, you do a lot of different subjects so that your children have a wide feast. They feast on different subjects in their school experience and in their learning. So they're getting a lot of different things, a little bit here and there. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But for right now in this season, I just need to pare it down some. And I think that's okay. So for the next school year, I'm going to increase the quality of our subjects and decrease the quantity so that I can focus on doing fewer subjects really, really well instead of doing a lot of subjects more mediocre. This next year, I'm planning to be more realistic with the subjects and pick 1 or 2 enrichment subjects and focus on doing those well and enjoying those instead of having so many. So that's another lesson that I learned. This is a season. And as my children grow older, maybe we can add more, like we can add in the Spanish and we can add in the poetry and all these things, and it'll be wonderful. But we're just not there right now today in this season, and that's okay. So those are the things that I have learned this year. So I hope this video was helpful for you if you are looking to homeschool in the future, or if you're homeschooling and looking for other curricula, or if you are reflecting on what you've learned in your homeschool, or if you're doing research into homeschooling. I hope that this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me today. Please subscribe if you are interested in more videos on homeschooling, homemaking, and family discipleship. Thanks for watching and have a great day.